Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome back to my series where I'll be reviewing every Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I've already covered Curse of the Black Pearl, Dead Man's Chest, and At World's End. Those videos will be linked in the eye in the right hand corner, please do check them out. But for right now, let's dive into a post-Gore Verbinski Pirates world and talk about On Stranger Tides. Captain Jack is back. This time around, he is forced by Blackbeard, played by Ian McShane, and his daughter Angelica, played by Penelope Cruz, to find the Fountain of Youth. Yes, the Ponce de Leon one. All while Barbossa, who has seemingly become a privateer, reprised by Geoffrey Rush, and the Spaniards are all also looking for it. The main Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy was very well regarded, and while the critical reception would get a little worse by At World's End, the movie still made bank, which is both a blessing and a curse, because when it comes to On Stranger Tides, this pretty much has no involvement from the people that gave this series socks. No Gore Verbinski, no Orlando Bloom, no Keira Knightley, and that's just the things that I remember off the top of my head. With Johnny Depp being back, that is a plus, but he is no miracle worker. And now that I've watched this movie for the first time in over a decade, I can safely say, yeah, this was definitely not great. I don't think this movie is necessarily bad per se, but the lack of Gore Verbinski is particularly strong. I don't want to dump on this director too harshly, as the movie was directed by Rob Marshall. He's won several Emmys and was even nominated for an Oscar for directing Chicago. This is not some slacker doing this. This dude is a legit, director. He still gets work today, so I don't want to be overly harsh. And from a standpoint of it being this director, it looks like a well-composed movie. It looks like, in some cases, they actually used actual sets, which if that is the case, then good on them for doing that. You will never catch me saying a bad thing about Johnny Depp as Captain Jack. I mean, the dude created this role and he owns every single frame that he is in. Whenever he's on screen here, I'm like, we have stumbled upon an oasis from just the bland. More on that in a bit. Ian McShane is a good actor and has more than a few good roles under his belt. Al Swearingen from Deadwood immediately springs to my head. However, it's clearly obvious that they wanted another Davy Jones, but since Davy Jones's heart got literally stabbed in At World's End, they couldn't bring him back, so it's like, who's a famous pirate? Blackbeard, yeah, we haven't used him. There was potential in a Blackbeard villain in this series. And especially considering Ian McShane, he definitely could have given it some substance. Unfortunately, it just feels like they wanted the Dutchman and they wanted Davy Jones, but they couldn't have either because Gore Verbinski crossed the Rubicon and burned the bridge behind him. So here we are with Blackbeard. Penelope Cruz is also a good actress as well. However, it feels like her character just kind of exists. I mean, you could have had anyone play her and it would have worked just as well. Nice to see her, but at the same time, I'm just like, really, Penelope? Did you need this role that bad? Probably the worst part of the movie is the angle between the clergyman and the mermaid. Yes, there are mermaids now. There are mermaids in this movie. And, yeah, I just didn't care. This whole romance angle was introduced about 2/3 into the movie, and it's just like, here's a mermaid, here's a clergyman, you're expected to care now. And I just didn't. Again, I feel like they wanted to do the Will Turner, Elizabeth Swann thing with this clergyman and this mermaid. But it didn't work. I'm struggling to even remember their names at this point. Geoffrey Rush is good in his terms of performance as Barbossa, but doing this with his character, turning him into a British privateer, is just a bit of a weird flex. And they do explain that it's basically a ruse, so, I mean, it's not like he totally turned to the dark side, but again, it's so weird considering that in At World's End he had a whole big monologue about piracy was about the sweat off of a man's brow and the strength of his spine. It's like seeing him in this attire, no matter how how they later describe it as, oh, it's just a ruse. At the end of the day, you just get the overwhelming feeling of that monologue just feeling like...
Well, that's bullshit.
And you could have totally cut the Spaniards out of this, and the movie would have been just no different. They almost play no part into this, except for this weird thing of where the Spaniards get to the fountain where Captain Jack and the Brits are, and he's like, this is a pagan place, and we shall destroy it. And then he just drops the chalices on the ground and stomps on them, which is redundant, because the mermaid just gets them and seemingly repairs them. So why were they here? I almost would have half expected this type of Spaniard, and it would have been just as good.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
And I think really my biggest problem with this movie is that it looks like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, walks like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and even talks like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But there's a distinct lack of soul in here. It feels as if that At World's End was supposed to bring an end to everything, but, well, unfortunately, and from a certain point of view, the movie made a ton of money, and so Disney was like, we gotta make more. And so this is more. It's like what William Shakespeare once said, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Shakespeare, this movie is called Pirates of the Caribbean, but it's not a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It has elements of it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just not it. On the whole, I'm going to give this a forgettable rating, and I feel like there's genuine effort put forth into this. I mean, they even got Keith Richards in for a cameo, one of the people that inspired Captain Jack Sparrow to begin with. He's Jack Sparrow's dad, and I thought they had great rapport with each other. And there's a great scene in the opening where Captain Jack is with the King of England, and they're being very snooty, and he's being very, well, Captain Jack. I thought it was great. But outside of that, it just feels like they're checking off Pirates of the Caribbean boxes of, you must have this, without any regard to any story whatsoever. I don't think this movie is totally egregious. There is stuff I like in it, but in the grand scheme of things, it's like the main trilogy is here, and On Stranger Tides is like way down here. It's a massive step down in quality. But I have a feeling that the step down is going to be even steeper, as next time on the channel I'm going to be... next time in the series, rather, I'm going to be covering Pirates of the Caribbean... But what did you all think of On Stranger Tides, if you can remember it? Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say about it. And if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button and click the bell to allow notifications. That way when a new video drops, you'll be the first to know about it. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.